2. Ah, 1, 2, 1, 2. Ok. Hotep Senuhena Senut Itir and Ishaka Nugu Kemet. I hope you're doing well. I want to check the sound. Give me 4 seconds. Thanks to those who have hit that like button before the live stream. How's the sound now? Thanks to those who have great. Hit that like. So let's put the background music. I have shared the invite. Feel free, otherwise you have the chat for the shy individuals that don't want to show their face. We're going to take from where we left the last time. No matter what the topic is, your comments, your questions are always welcome. So I remember we left at Sobek Hotep. I'm going back and we can resume, and we will deal with some Medu nTr. We will deal with the Kemetic culture. Okay, back. Ah, that's it. So that's the one. Okay, now let me share the screen. We have a caller, but unfortunately there's no video, and I require people to have some video when they get on the panel. So please feel free to use the chat, or if you don't mind, make sure that you have a webcam, or no matter what you use, you know. That's a Herukuti. Thank you for hollering. You are welcome. But that's just the way it works here. So once again, feel free to use the chat. All right. So I'm wondering if it's a bit too small here actually to go through this. I will see how it looks actually. I will see how it looks on the page. Now, hold on. How does it look on the page? Well, okay, I'll look for another one where we can see better. All right. So what I will try to do is this. Actually, let me remove this. I like to be able to draw, which I do during the classes on PowerPoint, but you need to have the pictures on PowerPoint first. Okay. Now let me see if it works, if I try to share this. How does it look? Yeah, so far so good. Okay, so here we have a Shen ring. Inside of that Shenu, we have a name. Those who take the class should recognize this glyph here, but in case you don't, there it is. The folded cloth, a unilateral. Now, this is another unilateral that you are familiar with, but the shape is not as we normally see it. Okay. Now here, I think just underneath you recognize a basket with the handle. Hey, what's up, Herukuti? Hope you're doing well. Feel free if you have any questions or comments. And yes, the basket with the handle. So that's another unilateral. Then we have the altar or offering table with the two phonetic complements. This is actually the stool. So that gives us a name. Now, of course, this here is an nTr glyph. And that's a triliteral that we are very familiar with. And underneath we have Sara. Now here is a bit technical, but it's not early on in the classes. Now we don't really see it well, but we do have the handle here. So it's not the neb, but it is the unity tool. Now you probably recognize the ankh and the was, and underneath we have the neb. Now here we just have the ankh. At the bottom we have dua nTr. There's probably a number below. That's only so much we can see. Now if you look here, we do have the was scepter, and on top of it we do have the ankh as well. Now from the face here we can tell this is Inpu. And here we can definitely conclude that this is Abju, because this is a chisel here, and then we have the here, and we know the phonetic values of these glyphs, even though the chisel have two phonetic values. Next. Scrolling through. More here. Oh, okay. I'll leave that one for the class as well. It's a bit blurry, but hey, we're gonna have a look still. Now, oh, it's not. One moment. Now, hey, that's great. That's convenient. So, welcome to those who just arrived. I'm going through some Medu nTr, and if you have any questions or comments, then feel free. Now, here we have the cup, a city lady. Well, cannot really tell it's a lady, but we see the feather. Then we have Mary. Then we have Neb-T. And most importantly here, we have the I6 glyph, the Kem glyph, and the loaf of bread and the Nut glyph. This is the name Kemet. At the bottom here we have D Ankh Was. And inside of the Shenu we do have User, Ma'at, Ara, Setep, and Ra. Here we have another name, another location, which is Behedet. And underneath we have Nebpet. Now, here the change, yes. And another case here, it's not the same as previously, is it? Oh no, it's the same, it's a close-up. This here is a chapel of the ancestors. We can see some Shenu, and they basically did a motif of the design that we have. We have Pepi and Teti. That's way back, way back. Now what you're looking at right now is a Dendera zodiac. I hope that I have taken a picture of the description. So tell this is warm. It is warm indeed. And as you can see, they have placed it at the top like it was a ceiling. So here, now, unfortunately, okay, I have a video though where I read the description and of course I translate it from French to English. Some of you will recognize the Medu here. Here we have pet. Maybe I said there, I mean, if it's a throne, it's an unusual shape. And on top of the head is not just a feather, but it's like you have the horns and the sun disk, and it looks like the feathers. Usually you can tell from the glyphs that we're dealing with some late period area. Not area, era. Oh. Didn't we see that earlier? This sarcophagus, I think, belongs to Ramesses III. It's very nice. Okay. This is during the reign of Seti II. Here we have the word for eternity. Well, actually, we have Nesut here. Here we have Dua. You can tell it's Dua because of the determinative of the seated person with the arms up. Then we have Ren Ek. We know the meaning of Ren for those who take the classes. We know that the basket with the handle is a suffix pronoun here, but it's a unilateral. Okay, I will look for glyphs that look more that look clearer, really. If you are learning the Medu nTr, after you got some basics, it's very important for you to get to a museum and practice and try to read and try to recognize some glyphs and some words. If you just learn with the hieroglyphic transcript, which always looks nice and neat, it's good for you to have the knowledge of the language, but if you cannot read from original artifact, you're missing on the fun. Here doesn't, you have to be familiar really, but we have Atum. It's not really pronounced Atum, but in English we say Atum. Now we have the throne on top of the head, so I would say that's Ma'at. Besides, she's holding the feather on both hands. She is actually, and I never noticed that before, we have wings, but she is actually sitting on the Neb or Nebu glyph. You see here they've put late period from 600 BC. So it's funny because I would have thought that, you know, the late period would be from 400 BC, but I understand that they put that because 600 BC, that's when it was finally conquered. The kingdom, the empire, my bad, was finally conquered. Now here we can see the jade pillar. The colors are very lively. Now here we have Aset. This is Usir, but that's not ancient. Did not take a picture of the descriptions. This is a bit older. This is a coffin of the king nTr, and it's around 1600 BC. And it's wood with some gold on top of it. See? And we have the cover of his coffin as well. Now on this one, we have an animal here. Doesn't look like a lion to me. It might be a leopard. I'm not sure if this part shows the serech, but we have hem, nTr, tep or tepi. Then we have N Usir. Then we have Unen Nefer. And as a matter of fact, the description says the great priest of Osiris, Unen Nefer, during the reign of Ramses II around 1200 BC. And we are told that he's wearing the skin of a feline. I'm not sure you said feline in English, do you? Apparently you do. The glyphs are a bit too small here. But that's the coffin. The large, I'm sorry, the large sarcophagus. Different parts of it. Have you ever seen a human-shaped body mixed with that of a snake? And that's what we have here. Now, it looks like a lion-headed person. And if we look around the bust, it looks like there is a chest or breast, so it has to be Kemet. I'm gonna change the background music. Colors fading. Kind of look like some vitiligo, but hey. Now this is a servant of the vizier, and he's called Senusret. You know, that's what's very funny. Most of the time we have the Greek renditions of the names, but sometimes, you know, I presume that it will not be just one person in a museum that will make descriptions for all these artifacts. So some will go the Greek way, some will go with the pronunciation that is more appropriate or closer to what is supposed to be according to the transliteration. But Senusret, that's what the Greeks called Sesostris. We have a name that's very easy to read. We have the stool right there, then the loaf of bread, and then this glyph here that some people call a wick, others call it something else. So these three uniliterals just spell a name. Very famous name, actually. Now, we have something that comes from the chapelle of Senusret. It's a reduced model of the chapelle. It was decorated like it was in the private tombs of the Old Kingdom. All right, we can see a few glyphs here, I guess. Hold on. Now at the top, it's not very easy to tell for beginners, but it looks like it's Ramesses II's name. But here we see have nTr Tepi or Tepi nTr, so it depends how you want to read it. Then we have N Usir Unen Nefer. Then we have Ma'acheru. Well, we have the three fox skin, the biliteral mess. It looks like a red crown, so that would stand for N. Now the rest I don't really know, I cannot really tell. Now in the middle, but the same thing. Temnetcher Tepi and Usir Unen Nefer. But it's the same thing. And if you look here, you see how the head of the feline. So it was probably a leopard. And indeed, Unen Nefer and the gods of Abydos. At the top we have Aset, Usir, Heru, and Het Heru or Hut Heru. Or in Greek, Isis, Osiris, Horus, and Hathor. At the bottom we have Unen Nefer, his parents, and his wife. Now this one, very lively colors. We can read some of it. Now, once again, the position of prayer / adoration. I've dealt with the fact that it's not like this, but the arms are the same level. We see them this way so that we can actually get to see both arms. Otherwise, if it was drawn from the side or profile, as we say in French, if it was drawn with the two arms at the same level, we will only see one arm. Here we have Nebet Pet. We have nTr A. So nTr A Nebet Pet. And we have Behedet with the nude glyph. So this is AACT. This individual is facing Usir. Then those, they look like the four sons of Heru. It's funny because we have those people labeled as the four sons of Heru, but I don't recall coming across a wife of Heru or any female he had the children with. Somebody knows about that, feel free to tell me. And we do have the Hotep Dinesu, Usir, Kemet or Khenti, Imentiu or Imenetet, nTr A, Neb Abju. This is the chisel. It's not the usual shape. Then we have DF, some will say red DF, Peret Cheruka, Aped, Senecher. nTr is placed first because of the honorific inversion or honorific transposition, or yes, there's two ways to call that that rule. Then we have Merhet, Irep. Then here we have the relief, and then we have the rest there, so it looks like Iretet, another liquid. Chet, Nebet, the T, the loaf of bread doesn't appear, but we should read this Nebet, not Neb. Chet, Nebet, Neferet, Wabet, Ankh, nTr, Im. That which a god leads on. So the lady is called, hold on. Je t'ai dit quoi toi? The lady is called Meresimen, and she's in prayer in front of Usir, and Quatre fils d'Horus means four sons of Horus. 25th dynasty, between 750 and 656 BC. I don't see her name written there. It might be at the bottom. Oh, actually, it is there. Here we have the Imen, and here we have the R and the S. So on at the top, it has to be Mer. But as you can see, it's damaged. So I don't know if it's the plow or if it's the water canal. They both have the same phonetic value. Oh, another one that looks nice. Now this gentleman as well is standing in front of Usir. Now it looks like the throne here, though it has a funny shape. So that would be Aset, but she's depicted in green, just like Usir, and we are used to seeing Usir depicted in green every now and then. But if it is definitely Aset, then I would say that's the first time that I recall seeing her with a green color for her body. This offering here looks like a duck. Might be a goose, but you know, same kind of animal. And then we'll once again have the four sons of Horus. So at the bottom, still the same thing. nTr A, Nebet Pet, Behedet. And if we look down, we have Hotep Dinesu, Usir. Oh, is it Neti? Oh, okay. Renenti, imenetet, necher a, neb, abju, df, peret cheru, cha, m, ku, apdu, cha, m, senecher, cha, m, irep, iretet, cha, jefau. Also, I might read this, hotepu, jefau. Then we have cha, chet, nebet, neferet, wabet, cha, em, chet. I cannot tell what we have here. Then we have usir, well, it looks like imen, but this here looks like the pair. It's not round, so I would not say that's imen ra. I can tell what it is here, but he will have ma'acheru. Yeah, I'll leave it there. The colors look really nice. As for the description, Iret, they wrote Hiret, Iret Horru. That's the way they spelled it. It's like a gate man of the temple of the god Amen, and he's adoring the gods and funerary genies. 25th dynasty. He's making an offering to Osiris, followed by Isis and the four sons of Horus, who are called Amsit, Hapi, Kebeh, Senuf, and Duamutef. And Duamutef, we can break it down. Dua, Mut, and F. See? Okay, I will not read from this artifact because I'll look for clearer looking glyphs. This is the lady Neniset, adoring the sun. This is the Ptolemaic era, from 300 to 30 BC. She's making an offering to the sun in two ways. Ra is rising in the horizon of the east, and Atum is setting or going down the horizon in the west. Now here you can have an idea of how long the Peret Emheru used to be. I have a video from I forgot if it's Torino or Turin Museum in Italy. But it is one of the museums in Italy, and you have quite a long papyrus. Now we have Bryant Jackson, who's saying peace. I have a question about ancient Kemet, plant medicines, and mycology. I don't know what mycology means. Have you heard any Medu nature references on things like iboga, mushrooms, etc.? Mushrooms, no. I don't know what iboga is. What is iboga? It's probably with fauna or flora. Iboga. Iboga. It's a plant. Oh, not familiar with that. But if you have any other questions, feel free. So this is the book of respirations. Well, respirations. Let's say breathing. All right. And it belongs to Usir Ur. It says in one word, Usir Ur. But we can break it down in Usir and then Ur. Now, this is very recent, between 150 and 100 BC. This is the Ptolemaic era. It would come from Thebes. That's why it says would come from Thebes. They're not sure. Now, the three lines at the top are a hymn to Osiris. And some of the sentences are borrowed from the book of Going Through Eternity. And and underneath we have the first book of Respirations. So Brian Jackson wrote that Iboga is a plant, a root from the Bwiti tribe of Gabon. All right. All right. The forest of Gabon is known for the good quality of their wood. Samuel Jackson, the actor, got his citizenship from Gabon because after a DNA test, he found out that he is originally from there. And Ludacris's wife is from Gabon. All right, we have now the major nature. We will not be able to read it. It's just too small here. But we can look at the imagery. Now, it's probably the barbird. The ankh is on the neck. On the right is the same. Underneath that has to be Inpu. Then we have two cobras. Now they have that cobra has a name, but I never really remember which one is which. We have the red crown here for Lower Egypt, and we have the white crown for Upper Egypt. We do have the scarab or dung beetle, which stands for Kheper. Now the Kh is a bit difficult to pronounce. That sound doesn't exist in French or English, so a lot of people pronounce it like a K. So they pronounce it Keper. And we have the sun disk at the top, so some people might read this Kepera. Brothers and sisters, have you often seen the sun disk with that color? That realistic color? At the bottom we have Behedet. Now we do have what is probably the barbird. We will see if they address it in the description. This man, along with the barbird, have the position of prayer or adoration. And we do have all those individuals on the bark. Now first we can tell it's taught because it's a ibis-headed person. And in his hand here, it's probably a scroll because Jehuti is known for having something to do with writing. The other two must be normal people or mortal, you know, who went to the netherworld to do what. But then we do have the horns with the sun disk in between, so it might be Isis or Aset. Then we have the feather here. It looks more like the shoe feather than the typical Ma'at feather, so I really don't know because it looks like a lady to me. Now here might be Knum. It's ram-headed. He's holding the wasp scepter, and then we have this snake here around him. Now this individual there now is facing Usir. Now you can definitely say that this is Aset because of the throne on the head, and then we have the Neb glyph at the bottom, the hood. So that's Nebet hood or Nebet head. The Greeks call her Nephthys. Now I don't know if they are carrying a sistrum, each of them, but they are holding something. Then we have most likely Inpu with the wasp scepter as well, and the Ankh on the other hand. Then we have a lion headed or lioness with the sun disk on the head, so that has to be Sekhmet, which really is Sekhmet. Those of you who speak Spanish, it sounds similar to the Jota. You know, when you say hijo or hija. And for Arabic speakers, it's the sound that you have in the name Khalid. Most English speakers pronounce Khalid. Now, this gentleman has a feather, and I would say that's shoe. And the person here is facing someone wearing the two crowns of Upper and Lower Egypt, red and white one. So let's have a look at the description now. That's still the Ptolemaic era. It's the stela of Usir-Ur, who was a priest of Amun in Thebes. Now this is a partial translation. Well, okay, they will not describe who those people were, but it says royal decree from His Majesty the King of Upper and Lower Egypt, Nefer. And you notice that they've put Osiris in parentheses because Nefer is an epithet of Usir. And it says you, that's a plural you. The great gods of the necropolis of Abydos. The blessed one in the court of Usir, the deceased in the great court, you, the gods and goddesses in the hill of Jame. I don't know how to get the A, but the A sound. The blessed one. Now this is really Imaku or Imaki, so some people will use blessed, some people will use, you know, other words. Perfect in the west of Thebes, you, the gods in their totality. Brian Jackson is saying, what's an item all the way on the right that the man in white pants is holding? Is that a tree or mushroom? You go back. Is it the one you were talking about? Which artifact was it? Or was it the latest one before I read the? Because that one is not holding anything. That one is not holding anything either. And well, none of them are holding anything here. And you said all the way to the right. Yeah, all the way on the right. The latest one. That's the latest one here, because after this one, that's the. Oh, you mean you probably mean this. Now, here Usir is holding the crook and the frail. What we call the crook relics, like the Heka scepter. Is it the one you're talking about? This one here? The latest one, it's in front of his hand. Is it the one you're talking about here? Because that one's not holding anything. He has his arms up, just like this one has his arm up. Or maybe, well, this is the left. So this one is holding the Wa scepter and the Ankh here. So above that one, above that, okay, above. Oh, okay. Now on the right there is not holding anything. Has both arms up. Now maybe you're talking about this thing here. This might be a, you know, stuff for, you know, to blow some wind. I think it's some sort of plant. Yes, that's it. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure though. It's not holding it, but I know what you mean. I want to see if I can find it on the list. It's probably some sort of plant. There. If someone knows what it is exactly, then feel free. Even if it's not during this live stream, you can always leave a comment on the video. Right. On this book, I have God in the sign list, and on top of God in the sign list, we have many editions. All right. So, how long have I been flowing now? 29 minutes. Now we have the basic materials project wrote, maybe the image in between the Horus bird and the fellow. No, but we got it established, the one he was talking about. And then Brian Jackson wrote, thank you for helping me zoom in. I'm curious about mushrooms and psychedelics. The Kemet you use to see other dimensions. I don't know where you get that from, brother. But there was a documentary, it's available on YouTube, and I just watched the beginning. And they're talking about, if I'm not mistaken, the lotus plant. They used to, I don't know if I should say sniff it, you know. And it might have had some sort of effect, you know. But then I cannot really expand on that, you know. Now in Somalia, there's a, I think they call it something like cot. But there's some sort of plant that they chew, and it's like, you know, gets them high, you know. And different cultures have their, you know, their way of relaxing, for lack of better words. Now the glyphs here they look like amateurish. I would be very surprised if it's not the late period, but this is the room where we have coffins, and over there a lot of them are from the late period. Now here, another evidence that the position is like this, because if I zoom in, See, that's what we see. So remember, it's not this same level. This one here is what's the proper word in English? Because earlier I said cover. There's a more appropriate word. The lead. Well, we do have cover as well, you know, but that's the second option. The first option is lead. This is the lead of the sarcophagus of the great intendant Jehuti Hotep. They wrote Hetep, but you know, it's the same thing. Between 1200 and 1100 BC. And we are told that Jehuti is dressed just like when he was alive. I think this is a lady mourning. Yes. Now this is from the 18th dynasty, between 1500 and 1200 BC. And it's a rare example of a sculpture made out of earth or dirt. They say that it might be the goddess Isis crying for Osiris, with the hand on her head as a sign of lamentation. I think inside of this, you will put some incense. And it looks like a falcon headed. So, Horus. So indeed, this is something where you put the incense. As a shape of an arm, obviously. You can see the hand there. In the middle of the arm, there was something that disappeared that had the reserve of the incense grains. Oh, you see here? And then of course you put it there and then you make it burn. Now, right here, we have Dua and then we have Mut and then we have F. Dua Mut F. Read that name sometimes earlier. Oh, well that's the one actually. That's the one. So we will see the reference after. We have some hieroglyphic on wood, some Medu nature on wood, which is not so common. In the meantime, Brian Jackson, and I think I will stop at one hour because it's 55 minutes now, and there's so little participation, so people are not really enthusiastic this evening. But in the meantime, Brian Jackson wrote, and my colleague's named Darren Le Baron told me they use mushrooms in Kemet, so I wanted to check with linguistic masters like you and Mfudishi, etc. Well, I wouldn't call myself a master, you know. But the best thing to do is to ask that person, where is it written? Which text? Because so many people say so many things. I'm not denying, you know, it's possible, but when it comes to Kemet, a lot of time there's some stuff that is said and people just don't tell us where we can find that attestation. Now, sometimes we might not know, okay, is that papyrus or that stele or on that temple, but at least if they can tell us, you know, which scholar says that. And when I say scholar, I mean someone in the field. See? So feel free to ask him, you know. So here we have Jed Medu in Duamut F Inek Saek. We do have another glyph besides the duck. 'Q) 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 ' And that has the same meaning. And then we have Her or Heru Mer Ek. I presume it's Ek at the end. Now this looks like the single stroke. Now maybe it's Neb, but from the sentence it will make sense to me that this is actually the basket with the handle. You know, I'm suspecting that this might be the handle here. So, you know, take this with caution. But maybe not. And then we have Imaki, Ker, Uamut F, Usir, and then we have Ramesu. Ramesu is what we call Ramses. And here it is definitely spelled Ramesu. It has to be Inpu or Anubis. Let's look at the description. Oh snap, I didn't take a picture of the description. Now we have the vase by nTr. Can have two phonetic values, but here we know which one because of the loaf of bread and the determinative of the sky. This is the name of a goddess. I don't think we will see it here, but I have a video where we have the hieroglyph, the face seen from the front. The lips and the nose speak volume, but I don't think I took a picture of that. But we see it in the video there. Oh my goodness. Now here, this is a coffin, the exterior coffin of the intendant Sopi from the Middle Kingdom between 2000 and 1700 BC, from the cemetery of Der el Bersheh. Inside we have the sarcophagus text, the book of two ways. I don't know if in English they translate it as the book of two gates, but I guess something like that. The book of two ways probably. We have different objects and funerary formulas and offerings. Now, well, it's been 1 hour. It's been an hour. I'm going to be too long this evening. If you want me to flow longer, if you want me to go longer, then make sure there's some participation, you know. It might be technical for most people, but that's really for those who are learning the Medu nTr or those who are thinking about learning it. Now, I don't want to repeat myself too much. If you're interested in learning the Medu nTr, then feel free to contact me. You have the email address. But when I give classes, that's not the way we learn. We learn with the Medu nTr transcript. So it looks nice and neat. You will have the transliteration, the pronunciation, and the translation. Then every now and then we look at original artifacts, but we don't look at long texts like we have. The long texts will come later on. We'll look at, you know, combination of words, short sentences, and so on. And as we progress, the sentences get longer and longer, you know. So stay safe, stay healthy. And if I'm allowed to by the nTr, I will definitely holler back at you. Hotel.
Now, for the record, for those who don't know, I'm giving Medu nTr classes, and here That's the flyer. Okay. So those who are interested, feel free to holler at me. If you're not interested, it's cool. But I recommend that everybody who has not yet seen the video Kemet and Ma'at before Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, then watch it. It has about 300,000 views and really deserves to have a lot more.
I just want to let everyone know who's listening in now and who's going to listen to this stream in the future. I just had my first Meta class by Brother Shaka today, and I've had other Meta lessons by other teachers, and I can tell you right now, the brother is the best in the game. He is that was one of the best classes I've ever had ever. So if you're interested in learning the Meta, if you're interested in getting the basics of it, Brother Shaka is an awesome teacher. Get with him, and it's extremely affordable. This brother is giving us his time and his skills, and he's basically giving it away. I mean, I just consider it a donation. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody's interested in learning the Meta, get with this brother right here. He's an awesome teacher. And I'll end with that.
Hotep Senu, Hena Senut. This is Julie, also known as Servant of Yah, and I'm currently taking the Medu classes with Brother Shaka, and it has been an amazing experience. Only 2 lessons so far, and I feel like I've been taking the classes for months, just with the how in depth he goes into the vocabulary words, the construction of the language, the grammar. It's been immeasurable, the experience. And one thing that comes across, hands down, is his extreme passion for teaching this to anyone who is willing to learn and has an interest in learning. So I highly suggest, if you are interested, even a minimal interest, that you subscribe to the classes with Brother Shaka. It's such a nominal amount for how much you get. I know, like, our last class was over 2.5 hours. It felt like 2 minutes, but because that's how, involved you are in what he's teaching and how he teaches and how compassionate he is about what he teaches. Also with sharing materials free of charge, no question, no doubt. It's just what he does. He doesn't have to, but he does. And so I just wanted to give a short testimonial about the class and the effectiveness of the class. And all of that is attested to how studied Brother Shaka is. So I highly recommend anyone with a minimal interest that you do sign up for the Medu class. Hotep.